I'm Steve Howe from Pratt & Whitney and a member of the York County Community College Eggs and Issues Committee. We provide this forum as a community service facilitated by and hosted by the York County Community College through the Continuing Education and Business Services Division in support of its educational and economic development missions. Today's Eggs and Issues sponsor is Ransom Environmental Consultants. Today's speaker is Mark Dubois from Poland Spring. Mark is a certified geologist and has been a natural resource manager for Poland Spring Water Company since 2004. His primary role is to oversee all 9 of the company's spring sites spanning 6 Maine counties. Mark has worked for Poland Spring on spring siting, monitoring, and permitting since earning his master's in science. As a hydrogeologist, he has worked on spring projects in the United States, Japan, and Scotland. Mark has also done climate change work around the world by studying glacial history in far-off places like Chile, Antarctica, Iceland, just to name a few. Mark was born and bred in Maine. His family hails from Sanford and spent summers at the beach in Wells. He earned his bachelor's degree in geology from the University of Maine at Orono and his master's in geology from the University of Cincinnati. Mark?
But to me, rain signifies recharge and is basically our business falling from the sky. We have a rapidly renewable resource in water here in Maine. The rain gauge up at our Hollis plant last year recorded 72 inches of rainfall. That's quite a bit over the annual average in South Sanford, which is about 48 inches. So we've been having some especially wet years the last few years here in Maine, and we have a very strong business as a result of that. I'm going to talk a little bit today about the responsible use of that water and how to turn that water into jobs here for the state of Maine. And jobs are, of course, a key point that we're all concerned with, especially in the economic times we have today. Believe it or not, Poland Springs' story started here in York County. Back in the 1700s, the Ricker family was resident in Alfred, and the Rickers basically, I think, had some land that the Shakers wanted, and the Shakers in Alfred traded land with the Rickers for land that was up next to their Sabbath Day Lake colony next to Sabbath Day Lake, just north of Gray in the town of Poland. That land swap brought the Rickers up to Poland in the 1700s, and their descendants, the Rickers' descendants, started the Poland Spring business and started bottling in earnest about 1845. You can imagine that there's not too many products that date back to 1845. It was told to me that Hershey's Cocoa and Poland Spring Water and a few others were on shelves back then, but that's a very old product. We're about 160 years old this year. This is the picture of the Spring House in Poland. You can visit this today if you're up on Route 26 in Poland. I urge you to stop by. It's open on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from about 10 to mid-afternoon. And it's open to the public on those days. And the resort is still in place there today, but not anywhere near its original glory. The original Spring House burnt down, original inn property burnt down in 1979. But the Spring House survived, and the original bottling plant survived. You'll see the date on this photo is 1910. And you can see, I'm not sure who these folks are in the picture, but I would guess they're probably Rickers. And there's the original spring that was encased in bronze, glass-lined case here. Behind that window, if you will, is the original spring that they used and started their business of bottling. Back in 1845, they were actually bottling in clay demijohns, and demijohns look similar to like a moonshine jug, you know, big handle, big thick clay bottle. Their success was mostly due in part to their location here in Maine and because of the tourist industry that we still depend on today. They had a lot of folks coming up from Boston and New York to vacation and take part and also drink the spring waters at the resort. And they started out as a stagecoach inn there in Poland and actually started selling water as a side business. But you can imagine folks coming to Maine in the summer, grabbing some water. Once they got back to Boston and New York in the fall, or they would vacation, I'm told, for months on end in those days. Once they got back into their home communities in New York and Hartford and Boston, they would like to have some Poland Spring water. So the Rickers started selling water and distributing it around the Northeast in that time period. They were lucky also to have the Port of Portland, and they were shipping water in wooden barrels on ships as well out of Portland. And you can imagine in those days, just as it is today, mariners like to have a good supply of water when you're out in the ocean. So they had a couple of very good sources from the tourist industry to the marine industry to ship water out of Portland. The Rickers were actually great entrepreneurs. They, I believe, shipped water farther than we do today. They reached Italy, I'm told. They reached Cairo, Egypt on ships out of Portland, and they were great entrepreneurs. Believe it or not, in the tourist industry, the Ricker family ran the Samoset Resort, and they ran the Blue Hill Resort in Blue Hill as well. So they had about 5,000 people working for them every summer. So these folks are not only our forefathers in the water business, I think they're also our forefathers in the tourist business as well. They had a great industry going in the tourist industry. So today, we have at Poland Spring 800 employees at 3 main factories here, the largest of which is right here in York County, about 20 miles down the road. Our employees come from about 125 different communities, and our average wage is about $20 an hour with full benefits. I can't stress enough in tough economic times how good the full benefits package is. The company is very responsible from a standpoint of profit sharing at the end of the year and giving back to its employees. Our annual payroll in the state is $40 million. And going back to the benefits just one more time, I'm reminded of a story. Believe it or not, when I thought of the rain last night and was woken up, I thought of a story about Dana, one of our newest employees in Kingfield, a gentleman my age, and I met him last fall in an orientation for our new Kingfield factory that opened up this year. And Dana told me on the side after I'd met him that this was the first job that he had full health care benefits, first time in his adult life that he had health care. And that story sticks to me today more than the water, more than our business success, is that the ability of the company to give back to people in Maine. It's simply a great story and a great use of our water and natural resources here in Maine. And we want to continue to grow. Our plans for growth in the future have to be about 4 to 5 years out. And the Kingfield plant took about 4 or 5 years of development to come to fruition this year. And so we have to be continuing to look forward even during tough economic times. Today, this is what the map of Poland Spring looks like. The original bottling plant where my office is in Poland Spring. These large blue dots are the factory sites in Hollis, Poland, and Kingfield. What is even more important to me as a natural resource manager is where we get our water. I don't work in the factory every day, but I am responsible, my department is responsible for the safe and responsible withdrawal of water and the use of that water at our sites. So when I look at my map of the state of Maine, I actually focus on these smaller blue dots, which are our satellite spring sites. They're fundamentally critical to our business. You'll see that in total we have 9 sites and 3 bottling plants. That's about a 2-to-1 ratio. We need satellite spring sites to be able to bring water into the factories and to remain a responsible steward of the environment in these locations. Each one of our factories has a set withdrawal amount that's set by the DEP, and we have positive feedback mechanisms in which we report on environmental conditions at those sites. So in the case of Poland or Hollis, you wouldn't want to just build all your business, put all your eggs in one basket in one of those locations. You want to be able to withdraw water from several sites, and I'm going to explain a little bit more why that's even more critical to us in the slides to come. All told, when you look at all these locations across the state of Maine, the company has invested $439 million in capital in the state of Maine since 1992. That's about $500 million. About half of that has been right here in York County, about 20 miles away. Even larger than our in-state spending on payroll is our spending on subcontractors. We have various subcontractors all around York County, across the state of Maine. International Paper is a huge one in Auburn, down to cleaning services and electricians and all the suppliers, stainless steel suppliers. These dollars, as you know, as business people, tend to stay in Maine more than dollars, of course, that are spent elsewhere. probably on about a 2-to-1 margin. So all told, with the $40 million and $65 million, Poland Spring has an economic input to the state of Maine of about $100 million or so, probably just a little bit more than that. What's a huge pride to me in being part of the company is our giving back to the community. We've been giving back about $2.5 million since 2000. One of our biggest give backs right after 2000 was with the Nature Conservancy, when we gave $1 million to help preserve land up in the St. John River Valley. Put that back there. Sorry about that. So the St. John River purchase was a big one. Conservation, environmental education, fire and rescue is another one of our big giving back areas. We like, as most of you know, fire and rescue departments are many volunteer staff in the state of Maine, and we give back pallets and pallets of water to any fire department that wants to come to our factory, come pick up some water. They throw it on the trucks,